Tonight on Huckabee.
A spiral notebook, and it basically gives details and illustrations about killing a large amount of people.
A reporter with a big scoop protecting her confidential sources, but she faced jail time unless she named names. Tonight, the big victory for her and the rights of everyone. Fox News reporter Jonna Winter tells her story. Then he spent the last moments of his life making sure his classmates lived. Jesse Lewis, the 6-year-old hero of Sandy Hook. And from Selfie Gate to the push for Obamacare, the president's greatest hit.
And if my critics get an attitude, I tell them to stop. I tell them to stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Mike Huckabee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Got a great audience here in the studios in New York, and welcome to Huckabee. All right, this weekend marks what would have been my mother's 86th birthday. She died 14 years ago, but her persistent voice is so embedded in my brain that I can still hear some of her admonitions and demands. I don't think she ever used the word civility, but she insisted on it. You see, in her world, it was simply called manners. Now, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but she drilled into my sister and me that money can't buy manners, and manners can take you places that money has never been. I used to think, yeah, but money could take me to Disneyland. Well, I never made my childhood dream of going to Disneyland, but the lesson on manners was not forgotten. If I failed to say, please, thank you, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, I could expect an icy stare, verbal rebuke, and, depending on the circumstances, an abrupt physical contact. Now, when I failed to live up to her rigid standards of polite behavior, I would sometimes be challenged with her question, were you raised by wolves? And when beyond arm's reach, I would sometimes display my inner smart aleck self and say, well, you and Dad raised me, so you tell me. Well, she never thought it was as funny as I did. It was drilled into me that no matter how little we might have had in material things, we could always afford to treat others like we wanted to be treated. Our culture today seems devoid of manners. People shout at each other. They talk over each other. And they use profanity indiscriminately and gratuitously. Rude and selfish behavior has become routine, even in business and political circles. Technology has given us the capacity to communicate by way of smartphones, but smart obviously isn't the same as polite. Selfie photos so ubiquitous that world leaders routinely snap them even at memorial services of other world leaders. And that demonstrates just how far we've slipped from social norms of courtesy and propriety. Can you imagine Franklin Roosevelt whipping out an iPhone and snapping a shot of himself with Churchill at Yalta? Or Ronald Reagan grabbing his iPad and asking Margaret Thatcher to ham it up with him for a quick pic? The political environment of our country is infected with people who have replaced public service with self-service. Belittling and degrading comments are made behind the cowardly wall of a screen name on blogs and Facebook posts. So why should we be surprised that government is dysfunctional when meanness has replaced manners in our interactions with one another? Oh, and it's not just the two political parties going at it. I watch fellow Republicans gnaw on each other like dogs gnaw on bones, fighting imaginary demons and labeling other Republicans who might have the slightest difference in opinion or tactic a rhino, a squish, or a wacko bird. Now, if my mother was still around, she'd probably lay down her 10 commandments on some things. Number 1, if you can't say something nice about someone, don't say anything. Number 2, wait your turn to talk. Number 3, respect your elders. Number 4, don't talk back. Number 5, never curse in front of a lady. In fact, just don't curse. Number 6, never mistreat an animal. Number 7, let others go in front of you. Number 8, always say please and thank you, yes sir and no sir. Number 9, never take more than one piece of candy. And number 10, keep your clothes, your mind, and your mouth clean. You know, I think those rules could make Washington better. But then again, maybe the people in Washington were raised by wolves. Well, the president has made a lot of headlines this week for acting like a hormone-overloaded teenager. But as Huckabee correspondent Ryan Reese found out, the president's fondness for taking selfies has, well, it's kind of grown into an obsession.
Governor, we're here in New York City's Times Square, where the president has made an unannounced visit. Let's find out why. What are you doing here in New York City?
Well, look, last week I took a picture with some friends in South Africa that turned out to be very popular. So I figured I'd come out here and have some fun.
Fantastic. Is this part of your new program?
Well, actually it is. My staff at the White House figured out that in order to get some young folks to sign up for Obamacare, we'd let them take a selfie with me. All right, and you signed up for Obamacare, correct?
Oh, sure.
All right, thank you so much. Have you signed up for Obamacare? All right, come on in. Let's take a selfie.
You guys get your selfie with the president?
Yeah, we did.
Did you guys sign up for Obamacare?
Yep.
Really? What do you like about Obamacare? Why are you hitting your friend?
Because she's lying.
Did you get your selfie with the president?
Yes, I did.
You sign up for Obamacare?
No, I have insurance already.
Are you going to keep your doctor?
Yes.
That's what you think.
That's not Captain America. I'm Captain America. Please. So you signed up for Obamacare?
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's take our selfie.
I see you just took your selfie with the president.
Yes, I did.
Are you going to sign up for Obamacare?
No.
Wait. You told me you already did. So check this out. Deleted.
Mr. President, we
great.
just received word from the Secret Service that Michelle wants you back at the White House now.
Well, in that case, I have to go. But before I do, I've always wanted to get a selfie with Cookie Monster. I'll be back. Come on up. Okay, let's get a selfie for you. All right, and have you signed up for Obamacare?
I doubt Cookie Monster is going to need Obamacare. All right, joining me now, editor of AboveTheLaw.com, Ellie Mistel, and former communications director for California Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, Tara Setmeyer. Good to have you guys back. Thank you both.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start with the whole controversy over the selfie photo that was taken at the memorial for Nelson Mandela. Ellie, do you think the president might have just taken the dignity of the presidency down a notch by being over there photographed, hamming it up with the other folks? And
I don't think he was hamming it up. I mean, Governor, you live in that world. You're sitting next to the Dutch Prime Minister for 2 hours. It's a long ceremony. She asked, remember, this isn't actually a selfie. We actually know that this was her picture, right?
Yeah.
She asked you, Governor, can I take a picture with you? What are you going to say? No, you were just talking about politeness. And I think that all Obama did in this situation was be polite to the Prime Minister of Holland.
it was Denmark, by the way.
Denmark, sorry.
Yeah, she's a Danish patient.
It's a very big nutshell.
Yes. All right, Tara, when you saw that, first of all, I took more note of Michelle's response than I did. Were you a little taken aback by that, or did it bother you at all?
Well, of course it bothered me, because to me it looked like you're the president of the United States. You need to have respect for the office instead of acting like a bunch of teenagers at a Justin Bieber concert, hamming it up at a funeral. I looked at that and I said, this is just indicative of the way he approaches the presidency. And this is not the first time that he's done things that are unbecoming of the president of the United States. And I understand your point about, oh, well, she asked him, and they all should have known better. I mean, you know, this was supposed to be, you're supposed to show respect. I understand there was a certain amount of, it was festive, but I just don't think it was appropriate. It wasn't very mature. And that's just indicative of the way he carries himself as president all the time.
All right, let's talk about Obamacare, the fact that 1 in 4 Americans have said they'd rather pay the fine than sign up for Obamacare. I mean, are people just abandoning this whole concept? Ellie, is there any way to salvage it?
Well, you know, I think it's weird to me, because I don't see why we should be happy that people who don't have insurance are so annoyed with this program that they're willing to continue not having insurance. And that's a failure on lots of different levels. That's a failure in the rollout. I think that's a failure in the discourse about this program. At the end of the day, we want people to have insurance. And people not signing up potentially out of spite, I mean, that's not really what we want.
But how many of it is out of spite? How many of it is because it's costing them money they just can't afford? We're talking about middle-class people who already were struggling, and you're going to hit them with $6,000 deductibles, $6,000 worth of premiums. their first dollar to get coverage is over $12,000. A lot of people are going to take the risk. Tara, what do you think people are just walking away because they're afraid of it or because they can't afford it?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. But what I found interesting in Ellie's response is that he said, well, we don't want. Well, who the hell are you? I mean, we, the government, I should decide whether I want insurance or not the government or any bureaucrat or someone sitting in an ivory tower saying what they think I should have. So that's a fundamental problem here. And I think the American people finally realized. They woke up out of the fog. They finally saw that the PR job that the president did, not only was he a liar through the whole thing, but now it's you're saying, oh, wait, oh, my God, this is going to cost me money, particularly millennials. You look at the Harvard study that came out that showed only 13% of millennials said that they will definitely sign up. Well, without the young, healthy people signing up, they can't pay for the old sick folks. The redistribution of wealth thing that the president thought he was going to be able to institute on the American people, that's not going to work so well because they realize there's no free lunch here.
We've only got a minute, so each of you got about 30 seconds to respond to the budget deal this week. Seems like Republicans and Democrats universally hate it, so is that reason to say it must be okay, Ellie?
Compromise is good. Look, during this holiday season, I think what we're seeing with Obama is a spirit of compromise, right? We have him being nice to the Danish Prime Minister. We have him being nice to Republicans in Congress. This makes me feel filled with Yuletide joy.
Final 30 seconds, Tara.
Well, I mean, the president, this is basically status quo. What happened in Washington this week, I mean, I wasn't thrilled with it, but anyone who knows, it was a very establishment decision. And that's why neither side liked it. I mean, the fact that the president liked it should have scared all of us, okay? We should, that should have told you right there there's something wrong with it because of how different we believe that the fiscal responsibility of this country should be. We're on opposite ends of that. But this was just a status quo decision, an establishment decision because nobody wanted to fight anymore. And what happens is it gets pushed on to the next thing, and it was a political decision. I think Republicans didn't want to take away from the Obamacare issue, that failure in pointing on that. Not saying it was the right thing to do. I would have voted against it if I were in office, but we'll live to fight another day.
I think bottom line of the budget deal was that it really didn't do anything substantively.
No.
But symbolically, the fact that you had a Democrat and Republican actually standing side by side, not screaming at each other, was at least a step forward. So did it accomplish anything? Not much. The accomplishment was not what, but it was how. At least you had people who acted like they could work together. Let's hope that's a foreboding of things to come. Ellie, Tara, thank you both for being here. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
See you both. Well, she risked going to jail to protect her sources. In the end, justice prevailed. FoxNews.com reporter, a champion for liberty. She joins me next. You'll want to be here for this.